Ahoy, adventurers! Welcome to the One Piece audiobook series. Get ready for a journey filled with pirates, dreams, and adventure. Let's set sail into Episode 1, The Beginning of a Legend. The sound of chains rattling echoed through the thick, humid air. A man stood tall, despite the heavy iron cuffs around his wrists. He was calm, almost smiling, as if he welcomed what was to come. Before him, two executioners raised their blades high, their swords crossing in the air to form an unmistakable X. A symbol not just of death, but of destiny. This man was no ordinary criminal. His name had echoed across every sea, whispered in taverns, sung in shanties, and feared in the halls of power. His name was Gol D, the Pirate King. The man who had conquered everything the world had to offer, wealth beyond imagination, fame that reached the farthest corners of the Grand Line, and power that none dared challenge. Now, as the crowd gathered in the square holding their breath, they knew they were witnessing the end of an era. Yet Roger, even with the shadow of death upon him, did not cower. Instead, he looked out at the sea of faces and laughed. With a voice as bold as cannon fire and as clear as a bell, he declared, "My treasure? If you want it, you can have it. Find it. I left everything the world has to offer, out there." Silence hung for a moment, just a heartbeat, and then the square erupted. Cheers, gasps, and shouts filled the air. Somewhere in the crowd a man with a pirate symbol tattooed on his hand grinned. His eyes gleamed with ambition. And just like that, the world changed. Gol D was executed, but his final words ignited a fire in the hearts of men and women across the seas. From every corner of the world, people took to their ships, chasing a dream, chasing a legend. A new era began, not one of kings or empires, but of freedom and adventure. This was the birth of the Great Pirate Era. Far away from the gallows where Gol D breathed his final words, nestled quietly along the coast, was a small seaport village. It was the kind of place where time moved slowly. The breeze from the east blue rolled gently through its narrow streets, and the sea lapped peacefully against wooden docks. Seagulls cried overhead, and the scent of salt and fish hung in the air. Nearly a year had passed since a pirate ship first docked in that village's humble harbor. Life had gone on, as it always did. But something was different now, something restless stirred in the air, like the calm before a storm. At the bow of the ship, standing boldly on the figurehead like a captain in training, was a small boy. His black hair danced with the wind, and his round eyes sparkled with stubborn fire. He wore a red shirt with the word anchor proudly stretched across the front, and in his left hand he held a knife. A tall man, relaxed and smiling, leaned on the rail nearby, a straw hat tilted lazily over his eyes. He watched the boy with curiosity and called out, "Hey, Luffy! What are you doing up there?" The boy turned, puffing out his chest. "I'm not joking this time," he shouted. "I've had enough. I'll prove it to you all." The man with the straw hat chuckled, tipping his hat back just enough to see. "Oh yeah? Go on then. Let's see what you're gonna do." Another pirate leaned against a barrel, laughing. "This kid's always up to something. Probably gonna do something funny again." But Luffy wasn't smiling. His grip on the knife tightened. His jaw set with a mix of fear and determination far beyond his years. Without another word, he raised the blade and, without flinching, stabbed himself right under his left eye. "Arr!" he screamed, pain exploding across his face. Gasps and shouts broke out across the deck. Pirates scrambled to their feet, wide-eyed in disbelief. "Luffy!" the man in the straw hat yelled, rushing toward him. "What the hell are you doing?" Blood trickled down the boy's cheek, but through the pain, He was grinning, his eyes fierce and full of something unbreakable. This was no ordinary child. This was Monkey D. Luffy. Later that day, the air in the village was alive with laughter, clinking mugs, and the smell of grilled meat and spilled beer. The pirates had gathered inside Party's bar, their unofficial home whenever they were docked. The place was loud, messy, and bursting with energy, just the way they liked it. Wooden tables were crowded with plates piled high, and the floor was already sticky with drink. A rotund man was guzzling straight from an entire barrel of beer, sloshing it down like it was water. In the background, a monkey, yes, a real monkey, was dancing wildly on top of a table, swaying to the rhythm of shanty music that wasn't really playing but seemed to live in the hearts of the men who sang anyway. At the center of it all, little Luffy sat among the pirates, a makeshift bandage on his cheek where he had stabbed himself earlier. He looked proud. No longer just a boy tagging along, he had made his mark. One of the pirates raised his drink high and roared, "To Luffy's insanity, and to our greatness! Kanpai!" The others shouted, slamming their mugs together, foam flying in all directions. Laughter erupted again. One man called out, "Hey! Bring me more sake!" Meanwhile, in the far corner of the bar, a pair of pirates were deep in a very serious battle, over a hunk of roasted meat. "That's my meat, you idiot!" one growled, tutting it toward his plate. "Shut up! You dropped it, so it's mine now!" the other snapped, teeth bared like wolves fighting over a bone. A third pirate nearby shook his head, taking a long swig of beer. "Oh, knock it off, both of you! Arguing over meat when you're drunk? Have some shame." But of course they didn't. In this moment, the bar wasn't just a tavern, it was a home. A chaotic, noisy, half-sinking home filled with laughter, ale, and something that felt a lot like family. And at the heart of it all was a little boy with a fire in his chest and a dream too big for the room to hold. The party was still going strong, but in a quiet corner of the bar, Luffy sat with a puffed-up cheek and a trembling lip. His wound was bandaged now, patched up by someone with a little bit of skill and a lot of rum on their breath. He tried to look tough, but the tears welling in his eyes gave him away. "It didn't hurt," he muttered, sniffling, trying hard not to cry. Across from him, the man in the straw hat raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. "Liar," he said with a small chuckle. "And don't do something that stupid again, got it?" Luffy pouted, but his eyes burned with determination. "I'm not afraid of pain. And next time you go to sea, I want to come too. I want to be a pirate." The man set down his mug and leaned forward, his smile fading just a bit. "You? A pirate? Not a chance. You're way too young. And more importantly," he jabbed a finger at Luffy's chest, "you can't even swim. That's the biggest weakness a pirate can have." The boy puffed out his cheeks, clearly annoyed. This man, the one who always laughed so freely, who never seemed worried or afraid, was none other than red-haired Shanks, the leader of the pirate crew currently anchored in the village. To Luffy, he was everything a pirate should be. Brave, cool, strong, and he had the hat to prove it. "I'll be fine," Luffy shot back. "As long as I stay on the ship, I won't fall in. Besides, I've been training. My punch is as strong as a pistol now." Shanks leaned back and blinked slowly, clearly unimpressed. Sure it is," he said, his voice dripping with casual disbelief. Luffy's face turned bright red, not from the wound this time, but from pure frustration. "Don't say it like that. You're making fun of me." But Shanks just laughed, ruffling the boy's hair without a care in the world. "I'm not making fun. Just saying, if you want to be a pirate, you've got a long way to go." Luffy's eyes narrowed. He didn't want to be laughed at. He wanted to be taken seriously. One day he'd prove it. One day, he'd be stronger than anyone, stronger than even Shanks. And maybe, just maybe, he'd wear that straw hat himself. The party had grown louder as the evening wore on. Inside Party's bar, the pirates danced in a crooked line, stomping their feet to the beat of their own rowdy rhythm. In the middle was the same fat man from earlier, swaying with a grin stretched across his face, his round belly jiggling with each step. On his left, a man with a confident grin wore a red kerchief with the name, Yassop, stitched across it. Others clapped, laughed, and passed around mugs of ale as if the world outside didn't exist. But one small figure sat apart, brooding, Luffy. One of the pirates noticed. "Hey, what's with that face? Why so gloomy?" Another leaned in and said, "Come on, kid. If you want to be a pirate, you've got to smile through anything." "Yeah," another chimed in. "The pirate life is the best there is." Someone else laughed as he leaned against the bar, eyes sparkling. "The sea's wide open, kid. Any island you want, just point and go." A deep voice rumbled from the far end of the bar. "There's nothing better than freedom, Luffy. Nothing." Luffy's eyes lit up, the fire inside him growing with every word. To him, these weren't just drunken ramblings. They were promises. Glimpses of the life he knew he was meant to live. From across the room, Shanks raised an eyebrow and sighed. Don't go stuffing the kid's head with dumb ideas." The fat man shrugged, still dancing. "It's not dumb. It's the truth." Another pirate nodded, lifting his mug. "Truth is truth, Captain." Then someone called up with a teasing grin. "Why not let the kid come just once? What's the harm?" Luffy perked up immediately, eyes wide with hope. "Yeah, just once." Shanks leaned forward in mock seriousness, raising a finger. "All right then, next time, one of you gets off the ship and lets Luffy take your place." The room fell quiet. One by one, the pirates looked away, suddenly busy with their drinks. Someone muttered, "We've said enough. Time to drink." The laughter faded for a moment. Luffy stood there, fists clenched, face red with frustration. "What kind of friends are you? You all talk about freedom and adventure, but when it's my turn, you turn your backs." The room quieted. Mugs lowered. A few pirates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. No one answered him. He turned to Shanks, the person he looked up to more than anyone, hoping, begging, for a different answer. But the red-haired captain just smiled softly and said nothing. Luffy's heart thudded in his chest, not from rage, but from something heavier, disappointment. Outside, the sea breeze slipped through the cracks in the walls, brushing against the lanterns, flickering their light. Luffy looked down at his clenched fists. He didn't cry. But something inside him, something small and proud, cracked just a little. He turned and stormed out of the bar, the door slamming behind him, rattling on its hinges. Shanks watched him go, the smile still on his face, but his eyes, just for a moment, looked sad. The laughter had stopped. And somewhere out there, a dream was burning brighter than ever. Thanks for listening, and remember, like, subscribe, and drop a comment below with your favorite moment. See you next time on the Grand Line.